Benfleet Station near Basildon in Essex at 7:30 in the morning. And stepping onto the platform are people who perform a daily ritual which is almost unique in Britain. They're called commuters. In simple terms, they work in London and have chosen to live outside it. To them, commuting is merely a routine chore with the kind of aggravations you'd expect. Do you like commuting?
No, I don't. I loathe it.
Do you?
Particularly on this railway with the sort of service that we get.
I see. What are you going to do now? Read your paper or what?
In case I have to, there's nothing else to do.
Have a nice journey. In fact, these people who jostle every day for the privilege of spending an hour in an overcrowded railway carriage are a very strange phenomena indeed. In the provinces, people tend to live near their work. Only in the densely populated southeast of England will you find commuting on a scale like this. Some will spend up to 4 hours a day commuting. Others pay British Rail nearly £1,000 a year for a season ticket. During the week in winter, they may never see their homes in daylight. Their lives are controlled by railway timetables, by buses, tubes and the weather. A strike, a derailment, even a small alteration in a timetable could turn their routine into chaos. There are 450,000 of them on the move each weekday. The starting point could be a country whistle stop beside a village green. Then they might have to change trains here in the mad scramble of East Croydon with its complex of platforms, tunnels and bridges. They all end up at one of the 14 main London stations. At Waterloo, the morning rush begins at 7 with a trickle which builds up until the platforms are bursting with people. The relationship between commuters is a complex business. On a busy station like this, people jostle against each other in their thousands, but they rarely remember a face or pass the time of day. Waterloo is one of the busiest stations in Britain. Well over 130,000 commuters use Waterloo every day. And I wonder how many of them, as they scurry backwards and forwards across the platforms, ever give a thought to a very high-up person indeed in British Rail, who from her elevated position can give them news which will bring contentment or else turn their lives into one of abject misery. That is because while they never see her, they certainly hear her.
12:46 to Bournemouth will leave from platform 10, calling at Woking, Basingstoke, Winchester, Eastleigh, Southampton Airport, Southampton, Brackenhurst, New Milton, Christchurch and Bournemouth.
Margaret Knight is one of the voices of Waterloo, who sits in isolated splendour 30 feet above the station. Margaret, what's the worst possible thing that could happen to you?
Oh, when I've got to announce that the station's got to close down, perhaps due to a derailment. It's about the worst, and there's no services out. We just get a great crowd of people on the concourse wondering what's going on.
What do you do then?
You have to keep apologising when you're sorry due to a derailment outside the station. There'll be no services here.
When you're sitting up there, what do you feel when you're looking down here?
Well, you sort of really feel quite detached, but you have to sort of think about it from their point of view, so you keep up, that's why you keep up the apologies and the announcements. But elsewhere, commuting can mean membership of a kind of club. This is East Farleigh Station in the middle of the Kent hopfields. On arriving, there's usually a morning ditty chalked up to cheer up a commuter's day. In this case, it's a welcome to us.
Good morning start with a nation's thanks. A nation's smile and a nation's pranks through nationwide.
The John Betjeman of Platform 2 is Spud Murphy, who writes odes, ditties and books about his commuters.
Morning, Spud. How are you?
I don't know if you'd like some.
Oh, Me?
With a peculiar uniqueness among the staff of British Rail, Spud, who's the boss of East Farleigh, seems to adore his customers.
Thanks very much, Spud.
His daily pleasure is easing the strain of travelling.
Are you keeping all right?
Yeah.
Morning, Spud.
Morning, Diane.
Oh, Spud.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Kev. Good morning, guys. Lovely morning again. Here comes Jill and Andrew. Oh, Mrs. Brown. Hello there. Morning. Come on, glad you got your tie on, Gov.
This is the tie that he ordered up, about 100 of them, I believe, some time ago.
The specially designed tie is the emblem of Spud's Commuters Club.
It's a change from going up to
For
London.
membership, all you need to do is to catch a train each morning and allow yourself to be mothered on the way.
And who's responsible for that?
Spud.
There are magazines and papers laid out and brought from the newsagent by Spud. He pays for the little extras himself. The buttonholes for the men, the posies for the women. And he knows all his commuters by name.
There's little things for you which you wouldn't expect on, how shall I say, bigger stations.
He even keeps ties if you forget your tie in the morning, and Wellington boots and heaven knows what else, yes, and hot coffee in the winter when there's snow on the ground. I see. Excuse me, I've got to get
We're all getting it.
Another train pulls out for London, and Spud's always there to wave goodbye. Then he makes sure that no regular misses the 8:05.
Good morning.
He phones his commuters at home to get them to the station on time.
I was trying to get Pat. I've got to give her an early morning call. I'm terribly sorry.
Spud's commuters must be the most pampered rail travellers in the country, and such is the warmth of the man that he considers the extra services he lays on to be merely part of the job.
Well, it's just something that built up over the years. Morning, Mr. Wixton. Sometimes they say, oh, bloke will come along and say, ain't got a tie, so I'll give him a tie. But it wasn't intentional. They start the idea, they've come without something. They won't come without a button, they've come without a bit of shoe polish. I want to clean their shoes.
Yeah, you've even got needles and thread for them there.
Yes, oh yes, they come here for that. But it's not really a service, it's just something that's grown up over the years. I like my job, I like people, I like making somebody's day. Morning, Miss Clements. I like making somebody's day, and...
You know them all by name, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Spud can brighten up a commuter's day, but what about the journey itself? The average commuter spends between 2 to 3 hours a day on the train. Unless they read a paper, how do they pass the time? Staring out of the window at the same view they see twice a day? Looking at the same faces? It's amazing in a packed train how little conversation you hear. But inside each person jogging their way to London, there's an awful lot going on. For instance, very strange things can happen on the 8:37 from Sole Street in Kent to Holborn Viaduct. A journey on this train can be a somewhat eventful affair. In the first-class compartment, dark deeds are being plotted. There's murder in the air, mystery and suspense. Will a severed torso be dragged from the river tonight? And how come a respectable solicitor like Michael Gilbert is mixed up in such a business? Well, it comes from his imagination. Michael's a part-time whodunit writer. He's had 18 best-selling detective novels published and many television plays. And he's written every single word on a train.
What is there about a railway carriage which inspires you to write?
It's not particularly the carriage. The point is really that if you do the same thing at exactly the same time every morning, it seems to come more easily.
Like a sort of routine, you mean?
Like a routine.
Yeah. Do other people who commute with you, do they know that you're sitting there creating whodunits?
The regulars, there really are very few actually on my train now. There used to be many more, but the regulars know, yes.
Yeah.
The irregulars, I always hope, pipe down.
I see.
Or get on with their own work.
Yeah. Commuting is a funny business, isn't it, actually? It's a very strange, unique thing for this part of the world.
Yes.
You've been doing it now for 25 years. Do you find it a strange thing to do?
Of Good heavens, no. I find it a perfectly natural thing to do. In fact, I believe if I retired, you know, I'd have to find a railway journey every morning.
What do you mean?
I'd have to go somewhere by train in order to continue writing.
Really?
I think so, yes.
You wouldn't be able to carry on without you sitting in a railway carriage?
Some people like to write in complete silence, sort of ivory tower business. I think that doesn't suit me at all. I like a bit of hustle and bustle. I think the best television I ever wrote was in the Golden Arrow Bar in Victoria.
It seems that having to commute en masse hides the individuality of people. It would be gross impertinence to ask how the person in the seat next to you is passing the time, but what if you take the trouble to inquire?
Do you mind me asking how you spend your time on a train?
That's a difficult question to ask. Now my slowness I'm trying to mask. For the time you've set on it leaves me short of a sonnet, but I'll try to get down to my task.
You write poetry, do you?
Whilst travelling to London by train, here's my way of relieving the strain. I write sketches of persons, that is limericks, or worsens, depends on the state of me brain.
This is the 7:30 commuter special from Folkestone to Cannon Street. There are 6 regular bridge schools on it every morning and night. That passes the time, but these people pay well over £500 a year in fares. And what about the tedium they must face each day in a carriage, and the homes in the country they cherish but only really see at the weekend?
Sometimes our complaint is we've not time to finish the last rubber. You know, it's the main complaint, I think.
We've been known to sit in Cannon Street to finish a hat.
We shall finish
You
up.
haven't? Oh, we have.
We shall finish up in the sidings one morning, I know that.